Today I had a discussion with somebody on Instagram about transitioning to a raw vegan diet, and I wanted to share a few of the tips that I gave them to hopefully help someone else out there who is transitioning. So let's share that in this video. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to be talking about some tips on how to transition to a raw diet or even just a high raw diet. But before we begin, please don't hesitate to go to our website and check out the raw vegan recipe ebooks that we have to add more raw food to your life. The code to get 40% off is rawfood40, so you can enjoy 40% off any or all of our recipe ebooks. The link is right here as well as in the description box below, so head over there and check them out. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can get notifications by clicking the little bell, and those notifications will be sent directly to you whenever I upload a new video. So transitioning to raw foods. Now, again, as I mentioned, I had a conversation with somebody on Instagram, and we were talking about how they can transition and any tips that I had. The first tip that I have is to first master whole food, plant-based, vegan. First master that and then move over into the raw food thing. If you're already vegan, if you're already eating whole food, plant-based, then you can start moving into more raw. But most people who are eating a really healthy whole food, plant-based diet are already eating raw foods. They're just eating a smaller amount of them, and it's all about just adding more and increasing the volume of raw food until you reach a point where you love. Maybe you want to go all raw, maybe you just want to do high raw. Whatever it is, it's about adding more raw and transitioning over. Now, a word of caution with using the word transition, and I've talked about this many times in the past. The word transition can sometimes be used as a justification to continue eating the things that you don't want to be eating anymore. So if you are transitioning over, the transition period is actually a time of practice. So if you're transitioning, for example, to be a vegan, if you're transitioning to become vegan, then in that transition period is your practice period. It doesn't mean that you go to a restaurant and there happens to be cheese on the salad and you're like, well, I'm transitioning, so I'll just have it this once. The transition period is the practice period. So when you go to the restaurant instead, what would a vegan choose? A vegan would not choose the cheese on the salad. So it's a time to practice choosing the way a vegan would choose, and they would ask for no cheese, or they would ask for a replacement or a vegan option or what have you. So it's about practicing being vegan. And once you find that you don't need to be in the transition period anymore and you're just making the choices naturally, that's when your transition's over, when you've actually created a new habit and you've actually made these new decisions in your life and it's normal to you. The transition period is the time where it's not normal, where you have to make those transitional decisions whenever you're faced with one of those decisions. So if you're trying to become vegan, practice being a vegan. What would a vegan do at that restaurant? What would a vegan do at the grocery store? What would a vegan have for dinner? What would a vegan order at this one place, or what have you? Practice. So the transition period is not this like, oh, well, I'm going to still eat that because I'm still trying to transition. No, it's practicing the new habits that you want to be doing. And the transition period is over when you just naturally choose those things anyways. You don't have to think about it or put any focus into it. It's just kind of your new reality. So I wanted to mention that because a lot of people do get stuck in transition. They're in transition forever. They don't really have a goal. They don't really want to transition over to something, so they do use it as a justification. I just wanted to make sure that you might be aware of that, because sometimes we're not. I was in transition forever. I would use that word all the time as a justification to just eat what I was still used to eating. So I just wanted to mention that. But first up, master whole food, plant-based, which is oil-free, super low or no salt, whole food, nothing processed, no animal products. Master that first if you haven't already, because jumping right into raw foods can be really overwhelming for a lot of people. I tried raw food for about 10 years. I would go off and on here and there. from 2004 to 2014, that was my transition period. But again, I was using transition as a justification to just eat whatever I wanted. But that period, I practiced a lot. What it would be like to be a raw vegan, what do raw vegans choose, that kind of thing. And I finally made the decision in 2014 to go vegan. And I did go raw right off the bat. And some people can do that. I'm not saying that you can't, but if you have issues with just jumping all in right away and feeling overwhelmed, then start slow. Start with whole food, plant-based, oil-free, like just get rid of 1 or 2 things at a time and start making choices that reflect the new you, the person that you want to become. So again, start slow, start with whole food, plant-based, start with going vegan, and start slowly incorporating more raw foods. So for example, you're making a sandwich for lunch. What do? You add more raw vegetables to your sandwich. Overload it with as many vegetables and many fresh stuff as you can. Start using less bread or making bigger salads, or make a big salad and have like 1 steamed potato in it or a little bit of steamed broccoli or whatever. If you're having pasta, add a lot more fresh vegetables to it. If you're making a stir fry, add a lot more fresh vegetables to it. Try to slowly add more and more raw food into your diet to make that transition phase a little bit easier. Slowly improve, because a lot of people will jump into even a vegan diet might be way more fiber than they've ever been used to, because the average North American only eats like 5, maybe 10 grams of fiber a day. Only 3% of North Americans actually hit the RDA, which is already fairly low in my opinion. Like I've heard anywhere from 21 to 35 grams of fiber a day. That's already really low, considering Nate and I eat like 90 plus grams of fiber a day. We eat a lot of fiber, but the majority of people eat less than the recommended daily allowance of fiber. So jumping right into a vegan or even a raw vegan diet will be a lot of fiber for their gut microbiomes, may not be ready for it. So start slow. Again, master whole food, plant-based, then start adding more raw food and transition slowly if that's what you need, and go as far as you want to go. This isn't a competition. There's no medal out there if you are a raw vegan or not. It doesn't matter. It's about improving who you are and improving your gut microbiome and working with your body to add more raw food and to eat more fresh food and eat more locally and all that kind of stuff. It's not a competition. So go slowly with yourself and be gentle with yourself. Work with where you're at, and also make those decisions that the person you want to become makes. So if that person is choosing raw food for lunch instead of a takeout meal, then be that person. Make those choices, plan those meals. And another thing that helps with transition is really exploring new recipes. Find new recipes online, anywhere, explore in your own kitchen, get creative, try new foods, find new things that you can incorporate into your meals that are different, that you've never had before, and then start slowly to increase fiber variety, that kind of thing. Again, work with your gut, not against it. But slowly, with time, you can add more raw food at your own pace and get to a comfortable place where you love the majority of raw food in your diet, even if it's just 50-50. If that's a big step for you, then start there and just slowly go to wherever you want to go. Maybe try some all raw days here and there and see how you feel. And if you love it, do more of them. It really is a slower pace for a lot of people. And like I said, some people can jump all in, but most people need to work with their gut microbiomes. Not everyone can digest a huge amount of fiber variety right off the bat. You have to go slow and be patient with yourself. Don't force it. Don't try to be some vision of what you think you should be. Work slowly at it and go and be gentle with yourself, because you're worth it. You're worth it. You deserve to take your time and really start to make those choices that the person you want to become makes every single day. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please click like. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can enjoy 40% off all of our recipe ebooks if you're trying to add more raw foods to your diet. These are great options to increase the amount of raw food that you're eating. Again, you do not have to be a raw vegan to enjoy more raw vegan foods. The 40% off code is rawfood40. The link is right here as well as in the description box below. So head on down there. We've got links for all kinds of stuff and check out the goodies if you want. And until the next video, guys, I love you all so much. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking and commenting and just being there and making compassionate choices for yourself. I truly appreciate you. And until the next one, fruit on.